Young and the Restless full episode Thursday, December 5th reveals Sharon Newman's life is facing major decisions and painful challenges. She still can't get over the fear that she will face a harsh sentence, whether she is innocent or not. After Heather Davis's deadly accusation against her, Sharon still can't free herself from the ghost of doubt and guilt, even though the test reports show important signs. Sharon can't understand why Nick trusts her so much, especially when she still feels that any test report can't change anything. She is always vague about the results and fears that continuing to search for the truth may only make things worse. The feeling of helplessness makes her fall into a state of loneliness and despair. But Nick, despite Sharon's doubts, remains determined. He doesn't want to see her continue to be tormented by these thoughts. He believed that there was still hope, which was why he kept urging Sharon to delay her plea, rather than rush into a decision. Nick remained steadfast that if there was any chance of proving Sharon's innocence, it was by buying time to find new evidence. With unwavering determination, Nick did something few people could do. He encouraged Sharon not to miss important family milestones. They could get through anything together, if she could trust him and herself. Michael was still worried about Nick giving the vial to Chance Chancellor. As a prosecutor, Michael knew that any action that could change the course of the trial was at risk of being covered up. He feared that the prosecution might use Nick's ignorance to cover up any evidence that might reduce Sharon's sentence. However, Nick did not doubt Chance for a moment. He believes that Chance, with his fair nature, will not let any secrets be hidden if he has the data that can save Sharon's situation. In a quiet moment, Nick continues to emphasize to Sharon that she does not need to face all these difficult decisions alone. He promises to always be there for her, not to leave and not to give up. He continues to ease Sharon's fears, convincing her to go for a walk in the park together to breathe some fresh air, forget the stresses of life for a while, and embrace hope. While Sharon and Nick are trying to overcome their own difficulties, Faith Newman is thrown into a world of confusion. In contrast to her mother's calm mood, Faith appears to be unstable and extremely anxious after an unexpected encounter with Lucy at society. In a tense moment, Claire Newman realizes that the mysterious woman she met outside seems inexplicably familiar. It was Jordan in disguise, an old connection that neither Kyle nor Claire could explain. When Claire and Kyle returned to society, they ran into Faith and decided to offer their support. But Faith felt uncomfortable with the attention. She quickly left, only because she wanted to see her mother and did not want to share her feelings at this time. At Crimson Lights, Faith had to face her deepest feelings. She confessed to Sharon and Nick about her previous encounter with Lucy, even though she knew that sharing this might worry her mother. Sharon did not want Faith to face the backlash from others, but she still insisted that Faith return to school, not allowing her to avoid real life just because of family stress. Faith could not accept being asked to return to school. She firmly objects, but Sharon gently tells her that it is not a request, but rather a suggestion from her mother, who wants to see her daughter stand on her own 2 feet. In moments like these, the bond of family becomes even more evident. Nick is not only a loving husband and steadfast partner, but also Sharon's steadfast companion in her fight not only against the legal system but also against herself. He always gives her hope that things will be okay, as long as they continue to stand together. Nick gives Faith a small glimmer of hope when he hints that something is being done that can help Sharon. Faith's hope is the only light in the darkness, giving her faith that, no matter how difficult things get, family will always be the strongest support. This story is about more than just a legal battle. It's the journey of Sharon, Nick, and Faith as they face truth, fear, and hope. Sharon, once the beacon of hope for many in the Genoa City community, is now facing a greater challenge than ever. Her life has been turned upside down when she is accused of murdering Heather Davis, a crime she has no memory of committing. Despite the fact that lab reports suggest there may be important clues, Sharon cannot escape her guilt and doubt. Will she be able to face the truth? Or will she continue to be consumed by fear of a harsh sentence, despite the lack of solid evidence? Although Sharon feels unworthy of the support of others, especially Nick, he never gives up. Nick Newman, with his heart always in the family, cannot watch Sharon drown in pain without doing anything. He knows that, even though she is questioning her innocence, it is only part of the process of dealing with the mental crisis that Sharon is going through. The test reports Sharon received did not change anything in her mind. She felt like everything was slipping away, and the murder conviction still haunted her like a ghost. "I can't take it anymore," Sharon said as she shared her worries with Nick. But he couldn't let her continue thinking like that. Nick kept urging Sharon to postpone her plea and continue fighting for a new chance. However, Sharon still couldn't believe that a test report could change everything. Even if they find something, will it really help me? Or are we just prolonging the pain? Sharon said in despair. But Nick persisted, "You're not alone in this. I won't leave. I'll always be there for you." This statement was not only the promise of a loving husband, but also the commitment of a companion who would never let Sharon face all the difficulties alone. Seeing Sharon's pain and exhaustion, Nick decided to take her out to the park, an open space where the two could breathe fresh air. Although this was not the first time Sharon had faced difficulties in life, this time was perhaps the most difficult. She did not think she deserved Nick's support, but he believed in her more than anyone else. Sharon and Nick sat on a park bench. The atmosphere became calm and quiet. Sharon leaned on Nick's shoulder, feeling the warmth of her loving husband. But she could not stop thinking about the gloomy future that awaited her. She looked into Nick's eyes and felt an indescribable harmony, but could not shake off the doubts in her heart. Meanwhile, Faith Newman, Sharon's daughter, was sitting alone at society, where she used to find comfort in meeting friends and relatives. But today, Faith's mind could not be at peace. She knew that her mother was facing a battle not only against sin but also against herself. Those thoughts made Faith more thoughtful than ever. Faith could feel the tension in her family, but she could do nothing to change the situation. After a while of sitting in silence, Faith noticed a familiar figure at the door of society. It was Claire Newman and Kyle Abbott, close friends of the Newman family, who had come to see her. However, when Claire saw Faith, she couldn't help but notice the confusion in her eyes. "Are you okay, Faith?" Claire asked, her voice soft, but also full of concern. Kyle, standing next to Claire, also looked at Faith with worried eyes. "You seem stressed. If you need anything, just tell me." Both Claire and Kyle wanted to help Faith, but she only nodded slightly, not wanting to share too much. Faith felt a strange unease, as if something was happening that she couldn't understand. She hurriedly left, only saying, "I want to see my mother." Faith's sudden appearance and the way she left quickly made Claire and Kyle feel that something was wrong. They couldn't understand why Faith was so flustered, but they both sensed that there was a deeper tension going on. When Faith returned home, she couldn't hold back her mixed feelings any longer. She decided to meet Sharon and Nick at Crimson Lights, where Sharon always felt safe. With a worried heart, Faith told Sharon and Nick about her encounter with Lucy at society and the strange feelings she had experienced. Sharon felt a pang in her heart as she listened to her daughter. "You don't have to suffer alone, daughter," Sharon gently comforted Faith. But Faith couldn't contain her emotions. Subscribe to Yonder to stay up to date with the latest news on our channel.